how do we turn things that are limiting us into things that make us expand? And we're gonna start with the most common one. Procrastination is one of the biggest diseases of this century. We're all so connected to the internet, we're all so addicted to our smartphones that we are afraid of doing anything that's meaningful, anything that actually takes work to get done. Procrastination is a really big fear of starting. It's basically just that. We have that huge amount of homework that we are afraid of starting because we know that once we start, it's gonna take a lot of time, a lot of effort to actually get it right. And it happens in not only homework, but in everything else. In business, we're afraid to get at that new opportunity because we know that it's gonna mean a lot of less money and a lot of less time. We're afraid of starting that new restaurant because we don't know the suppliers, we don't know the places, and we have a ton of things that we need to figure out. But the most difficult thing in anything that you can do is starting. And we said that it's just fear. So how do we turn fear into courage? We need to find the antidote to what we want. We want to be able to start something and get it to completion. And I have the right cure for you. Discipline is the father of all successes. Without discipline, we wouldn't have planes, we wouldn't have skyscrapers, and we wouldn't have phones. Success is birthed by discipline. Why? Because discipline births persistence, consistency, and effort. We know that starting out at anything is really difficult because we're uncertain on where to start, where to look for the things that we need. And persistence leads the way. With enough persistence, you can actually look back and connect the dots. If you never start, you don't have a place from which to make your own choices, and with choices, you can actually learn from them. And that's the key word. Learning is what will allow you to close the gap between where you are and where you want to go. With enough learning, you can actually become an expert at what you're trying to accomplish. So over time, it will only get easier to get to where you want to go. And the good thing is, once you are there, you can repeat the steps you took to get there and multiply your successes. Okay, so what about self-sabotage? Self-sabotage won't let you get to your desired goal if you really don't believe that you can make it there. Self-sabotage is present when we are doubtful of our own ability and, most importantly, doubtful of our own importance. If we don't believe that we deserve to be there, we'll probably won't stay there. For example, if you're in love with this really nice girl and eventually you become boyfriend and girlfriend, you're not convinced that you deserve her, you'll probably act with low self-esteem, you'll probably won't respect your relationship, and eventually it will lead to a whole barrage of problems. And doing so will actually self-sabotage your nice relationship. So this can apply to any situation you're in. Business, if you don't believe that you deserve that lead, you won't chase it. If you don't believe that you deserve that sale, you won't close it. So self-sabotage, how do we fix it? We said that self-sabotage is a fear and a lack of doubt in one's ability. So how do we strengthen our faith, which is the opposite of doubt? There are 3 ways to harness the power of our own faith. And I'm going to prove it to you by using this technique I found in Harnessing the Power of Your Subconscious Brain. It's a great book. So how do we convince ourselves to have more faith? We can do this through a practice called self-hypnosis. We repeat a statement to our minds as long as it's believable. We can repeat it enough times and our brains are gonna live it. They are gonna imprint it so deeply into our subconscious that we actually act upon it. Well, this is kind of a more nuanced subject, but if you believe it works, it will work, believe me. There are 3 things that you need to do in order for this to work. First, you need to be self-motivated. You need to believe that this will work and you need to actually want the things that you're saying. You cannot say that you want more money if you're not actually convinced that you want more money. There needs to be a really deep want inside of you for this to work. The second thing, repetition. You need to repeat this enough times for it to actually have an impact on yourself. Marketers call this optimal frequency, and it's the amount of times you need to repeat a message before your audience can actually receive it, can actually believe it. So repetition is key. I would advise you to take 10 minutes of your day and repeat these statements that you already know are believable and that they hold a certain truth. And thirdly, the most important one, you need to make it believable. I already talked about this before, but let's make it even more important. Believable suggestions. Make it believable, not something that's so extraordinarily out of reach that you become demotivated because of it. If you're just starting out in the gym, don't say to yourself that you're a champion bodybuilder and that you have the body of your dreams. This simply isn't true, but you can start from somewhere more constructive. You can instead say, I'm convinced with my physical growth and I won't stop coming to the gym. And this sets up a lot of seeds for your future success. So how do we harness our faith? We need to convince ourselves that we do want to go where we want and that we are actually convinced that we can get there. So I give you 3 steps, repeat them every single day for 10 minutes at a time, and I promise you, you won't be the same person. And lastly, we have acting out of compulsion. Not being a master of our own emotions will hinder us in our path to greatness. Why? Because most important decisions cannot be made on a whim. If they're made compulsively, you hinder your chances at getting at that opportunity that you needed. Life is made up of a lot of small choices, and if you don't take advantage of every single one of them, you cannot get where you want to go. You need to be able to realize everything that's in your surroundings and take advantage of it. But if you're not proactively acting in your environment, you'll never get there. Most people are in a state where they repeat the same day over and over again. This is because they are reacting to things that are outside of them. They are reacting to the world. They're not actively choosing their own world. Let me illustrate this point. From the moment you wake up, you have many different choices. You can make the choice of staying in bed and not doing anything for the rest of the day. You can take the choice of getting up, taking a cold shower, doing some exercise, and this is a great way to start your day. And if you pile up enough of these positive moments, you can get to a point where each day of your life is positive. Even if you had a rough start, even if everything went wrong, if you have a steady foundation every single day, you can make any negative day into a positive one. The thing is that when we react to things, we don't actually get to choose what we want. We react to that comment our parents made by lashing out in anger, and we know that this isn't actually constructive because the next time it happens, we won't be able to change anything. But if we actually act on it, if we responsibilize ourselves for our actions, we can actually look back, learn from our mistakes, and next time it happens, we won't act the same way. This is what I refer to as acting instead of reacting. So many of us have a lot of reactions in our day-to-day lives. We need to move from a reactive state to an active state where we actually solve our problems instead of creating even more. So the cure to compulsive action, I would say, is tempered character. A character that is unmovable no matter the situation and which has a lot of experience dealing with certain types of situations so that they don't happen again. So we talked about procrastination, self-sabotage, and compulsive action. Doing the 3 cures I described in this video will undoubtedly help your life and help it boost it further. Just remember, you are in this path with only yourself. If you don't respect that fact, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot, and over time, you're gonna set yourself even more obstacles, right? And that's what we want to avoid. If you like this video, follow, like for more, and put in the comments what you want to learn to boost your life even further. Thanks for watching.